Oh, what a dangerous man, he got his mind right. Okay with being famous, but he can't stand the limelight. Knows enough language to reach the heinous and tainted mind, but when he open wide, they like God, who he sound like.
Yo, it's Stack 612. Hopefully, on this episode of Roaches to Ranches, we're going to have this truck running and driving. So the goal for today is to have the engine and transmission, the drivetrain set in the truck, and hopefully have this truck running and driving by the end of this weekend. So we have a whole lot of work to do. This weekend is going to be a real marathon, but what it takes is what it takes. So let's get to work. So what I have here is this fuel feed line. What happened was when I was pulling the engine, I hadn't slept all night. It was like I was pulling that engine. I was a little bit tired. I just wasn't thinking straight. And I kept pulling it and pulling it. I forgot to unplug this line from the fuel rail. And I just kept pulling it until it snapped. This whole thing looked all stretched out. So I had to run to the junkyard yesterday, pull this line. I was super happy I did that because I was thinking at first, I'm just going to put this off. I'm going to put the transmission in the truck and then figure that out later. I was super glad I took care of this straight away because this is a real pain to remove while it's in the truck. I learned that the hard way when I was at the junkyard, and it was just a real pain to do. I actually had to get this one out of a two-wheel drive truck because that was the only way I could squeeze my hand past the front drive shaft and try to get to it. I couldn't get to it from the top because of the intake manifold. So first order of business is to put this fuel line in, then we can start putting the drivetrain together. So as we just said, the first order of business was to install that fuel line, so that's what we got done right there, straight away. And the next few minutes of this video will be a time lapse, so sit tight and enjoy. I will be popping in here and there for commentary, just to explain things I'm doing. I did time lapse the entire drivetrain install, so I hope y'all enjoy it. Now at this point, I'm showing the engine install. You can see why things take longer when it's only one person. You can see I work by myself, so it's really difficult. I gotta be on top of the truck. I gotta go under the truck, keep going back and forth. That kind of stuff takes time. It would be so much easier if I had a second person or if I had a two-post lift or whatever. And I could have somebody under, or I could be under while someone's guiding it in, and I can sort of guide it in. But since I'm just working by myself, I gotta keep going up and down under the truck and going up and making sure things are lining up. I have to go back and forth in the engine bay, making sure nothing's getting snagged, nothing's gonna break, making sure things are being routed the right way so I don't set it all the way down and something's getting pinched. So it's always better to be safe than sorry in these situations. Okay, now we got to the transmission install. I really want to explain the process here and why it's super stressful. This is the most stressful part of the drivetrain install right here, installing the transmission. You can see I got the floor jack up, I got a block so I can lift the truck as high as I can. That's the only way I can get that transmission jack with the transmission on top under the truck. And you can see how I'm positioning my body so my body is not under the truck. For me, it's possible, you know, I'm 6'2", so I can reach in there. I always have to make sure that the truck's not being jolted back and forth, that I'm not shaking the truck, that the truck's not being shaken, because if that thing falls down, I'm done for. So what I got to do is just get it positioned right until I can get it under there. And then once I get into position, I can lower the truck back down, back onto the jack stands, and then we continue work. As I was saying before, this stuff like this will be easier with a 2-post lift, but I'm just a guy by himself with jack stands in a garage. You know, there's only so much you could do. You got to take a risk. But this is roaches to wrenches. I got to do what I got to do. What it takes is what it takes. And for the transfer case install, same thing. Gotta jack up the truck as high as I possibly can so I can get that transfer case under there. The transfer case is not as stressful. It's easily maneuverable, and then once the truck is lowered back down, then I can get under the truck. Alright boys, we're right about at the end of day 2 here of the weekend marathon of getting this truck back together. So I just got back from the store, had to pick up an oil filter, some oil. The reason we got to change the oil and the filter is because when the engine was out, and on the ground over there, the engine was leaning forward right on the oil filter and it dented it. So I want to get that changed out in case it's going to cause some oil flow issues. Yeah, the oil was also looking kind of black and not as good as it should be. We're not going to get the truck running tonight. We theoretically should have been able to turn the key and have the truck running. I tried that and there was a bunch of gas squirting from the fuel rail because I bent it and it cracked the weld. It is what it is. I'm going to have to hit the junkyard tomorrow and go pick up that and a few other miscellaneous pieces. So I was going to have to go there anyway. It's no big deal. I'm super exhausted. Basically, I've been working on this truck for about 2 days straight. If everything goes smoothly, we should have this truck running and driving tomorrow. All right, boys. It's Sunday. We only have a couple hours left to get this truck running. This weekend went by fast. It was a lot of work. I mean, the whole drivetrain was out of the truck and now it's back in. So I just got back from the junkyard. Got a new fuel rail, got this heat shield. The last guy who did the transmission couldn't be bothered to put any of this stuff back in. Same thing with that exhaust mount that mounts to the transmission, and this piece that goes on the front of the transfer case that covers the U-joint there. So I want to put all this stuff back in, especially now that we're going into winter. I don't want snow and salt getting into places they shouldn't get into. I also picked up a new emblem for the front. I'm gonna start putting all this stuff back in, so then we can finally let this truck back on the ground. And then we're gonna get to the engine bay and get this truck running. Okay, the old oil's out. The new filter is in. OEM. The old filter, I don't know what the hell's going on, but this oil filter looks like it hasn't been changed in a long time. I had to hammer a screwdriver into the side to get it off, break it loose. This is where the oil filter was dented, as you can see, because it was resting on the ground. Good thing we replaced that. Now, as you can see, this oil is black. It's like black. It's like raw petroleum. And the oil also stinks. So you all put it down in the comments. I mean, have you ever done an oil change and the oil stinks? Like, look, it's real black. All right, boys, I'm just so tired right now. It's the end of the weekend. It's Sunday night. Unfortunately, this truck is not going to drive tonight. I'm going to get back to that later, but we should be able to get it started tonight. I got everything hooked up except for that heat shield. The heat shield, I'd have to drop the front drive shaft. I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to leave that off. It's fine. I hope it starts, and if it does start, I hope the exhaust is quiet. So that's the end of the weekend marathon, guys. It's Monday morning. I got stuff I gotta do. I'm a little bit disappointed we can't get the truck driving. I can't be able to test out that transmission that I was sold to make sure it's good. But I was promised it was good. But you know, you guys know how it is. It's the auto industry. The reason we can't get the truck driving in this episode is because the transmission dipstick tube is shot. It's rusted out. You know, I can't do anything with it. So it's a very common issue on these trucks. So I ordered one. It's gonna be here in a week or two. We still have a little bit more engine work we gotta do before it's gonna be fully sorted mechanically. But yeah, that's the end of the weekend marathon. I mean, it was a lot of work. Stay tuned for the next episode. Hopefully we're gonna wrap up this saga. But anyway, that's gonna be it for this episode. Yo, stay strong, stay healthy, stay inspired. I'm out. God bless.